I think it'll,
Oh,
yeah,
there
there
we
you
go.
go. Yeah.
Okay, so let's share the screen again. Oops. Okay. Let me see. Where's the slideshow? Right here from beginning. Okay. So good evening, everyone. Let me do another Instagram live right here as well. So thank you so much for joining us for tonight's session. My name is Laura Chen, and I'm passionate about wellness and personal growth. So I'm still learning, but my journey has taught me the importance of caring for ourselves so we can find the joy in every day. So I'm so excited to be sharing this space with all of you and explore the topic that's deeply personal and universal. So finding our why. So I guess most of you are here to also learn a little bit about finding your own why, right? So let me ask you, so when was the last time you truly checked in with yourself? Not just about what's on your to-do list, right? But about what really matters to you. So I'm pretty sure everybody, like including myself, we all have a really busy life and a really busy routine that we follow every day, right? So life does move really quickly, right? Like for example, I just thought like waking up at 7:30 felt like it was just an hour ago, right? So it is easy to get caught up, right? In all these little things like here and there, right?
Yeah.
So for us, like we often don't stop to reflect on what is really guiding us forward, right? So for me, so this question became really impossible to ignore during one of the most challenging chapters of my life is when I became a stay-at-home mother. So I felt like I had given up so much of myself. So my career, right, my independence, and even my dreams. Like I had a dream career, which I had given up, right, because I really thought that staying at home was something that we women should be doing, right? So like, don't get me wrong, like I honestly I love being a mom. Like that's something that I really enjoy every day, and that's what something that drives me to wake up each morning. But there was also this void inside of me, right? Like a really nagging feeling that I wasn't just tired, right? But I did felt really disconnected, right, from the society and also from the community, right? I did felt like at one point that it seems like it was really hard to find anybody that really understood me and also I had a hard time understanding my own self, right? So I'm not sure if any of you felt something similar, right? Or maybe you wonder if there's more, something more that's out there for you, right? Something that will give you more energy, right? Something that makes you feel alive, right? For me, that's something is when I really did connect myself with other women, such as Rosanna, that's here with us tonight, and also Joanne, right? Like these women, like really help me, like find out, made me realize, I guess, really made me realize what I was struggling, and that my purpose wasn't going back to work, right? Or proving to the world, right, that I needed something, right? It was my purpose was really to help others, right, to find hope and also the strength during the toughest time. Like it was, I feel like for most of us, like when you are at your lowest, right, that's when you had the hardest time to find that strength and inspiration to get back up again, right?
Mm.
So that is my why, right? To really be the light for others, right? Especially with women battling mental health and challenges, something that I also went through, and also searching for that clarity, right? Just like I was before. So that is the beauty of discovering your why. It's not something that comes easily, right? So now I'm so excited to introduce to you. Oh, sorry, I should have just put my picture up first. So now, but however, I'm pretty sure some of you, most of you would know who I am. So now I'm excited to introduce you to my co-host for tonight, Rosanna Laporta. So she is someone that really inspired me in the beginning, right? And still inspire me every single day. Someone that wears many, many hats, right? A part restaurant owner, right? A passionate advocate for wellness, and someone who does incredible readings. So, Rosanna, right, can you introduce a little bit about yourself and also what your passion is, right? What brings you to this community?
Thank you, Laura, for that. My world, even though I'm a restaurant owner and I do wear many, many hats, we have an imported grocery store. Our products come from Italy. We have a vineyard where we make wine. We have a grove where we make olive oil and balsamic. We do tours to Italy. On top of all of that, and getting into that world about 5 years ago, my life was very energy driven. So I have a passion for helping women embrace transformation, where they are now, where do they want to go, and how do we bridge the gap to get them there based on their energy and what it is that they want.
Okay, awesome. That's really amazing, right? So, Rosanna, right? I see that you do truly have a passion, right? And then your passion really guide, right, people around you, right, to different directions, right? So whether through your restaurant or your wellness or your energy work, right? I do really feel like what I have learned from you is that you really embody that balance, right? And that sense of purpose.
Oh,
So
I'm
to
glad you think there's balance there. Wonderful.
I do because honestly it's not easy because especially for me who have worked in the restaurant industry at a very young age and who have also worked in the catering business and the wedding business and the event business. Oh my goodness, I'd rather have 10 kids. So
I have
so
20 kids. Let's just put it that way.
yes.
Every day we're babysitting.
Oh, absolutely. So I guess to kick things off, right, let me ask all of you and also Rosanna. So Rosanna, you can answer it first, and then for the rest, I guess we can open the chat later, right? Or you can feel free to put it in the chat right now, right? When was the last time, here you go. When was the last time that you paused and thought about what truly excites you, right? Or makes you feel alive?
Okay, we're being really honest, right?
Yes,
We're
yes.
being very transparent here this evening. It's
Mm-hmm.
been a very long time. Like I said, the past 5 years, 4.5 years of my life has been very, very, very different than the 20 years prior to that. Like I said, my world is energy, helping women, doing readings, sitting in silence, yoga, playing with my singing bowls, crystals, saging, all of that spiritual stuff, law of attraction, the power of positive thinking. That world really started to shy away when I got into this business with my partner. So the last time I really paused was probably years prior to getting into this business. But I can say honestly, I feel that the energy between 2024 and 2025, it was like an automatic shift. I felt in 2024 that I was living in some type of cocoon and I was vibrating energy high and I was with people and communicating and building relationships and communities and USANA and all of these other things. But it was like I was stuck in a cocoon. And then something happened between 2024 and 2025 where I felt like a zipper of cocoon had just released itself, and I'm starting to view the world and myself and where I'm at right now very, very different. So I'm excited for what 2025 has to bring. And I've actually started to get real about what it is that I want. Um, so I know that was sort of a long answer to answer that your question, but there's a lot happening now that made me realize that the balance for me personally has been gone for quite some time. So being able to sit in silence, do my journaling, write down all the things that I want, and then build a plan and goals from there. It actually just started the last few days.
Honestly, Rosanna, it's actually really inspiring, right? You being so honest, right? Because for me as well, it's the same thing. Because for me, it's always about finding that balance, right?
Mhm.
And I feel like so for me, for finding our why isn't just a new concept, right? It's something that we have always been doing our whole lives, but without realizing it, right? So if we think back when we were at school, right, deciding like what subject that we like and we didn't like, right? So these choices always guide us at an early sense, like at a really early stage, right? Of what really bring us joy, what really excites us, right? So, but then that back then, right, we never know, like, or we didn't even call it our why, right? So
Yeah.
later, when we thought about what to do after school, right? Whether it is pursuing a career, right, attending college or a trade program, right? Or even exploring other paths, right? Maybe going on vacation for like a year to 5 years, right? To really find out who you are, right? Those decisions, right, really influence, I guess, that sense of purpose, right? That sense of purpose or
Yeah.
fulfillment, right? So even
Yeah.
applying our first job, right? Like when we were applying for our first job, right? There was a lot of things that are involved as well, such as like, what can I do, right? Or what matters to me, right? Other than just a paycheck, right? So even like if I have to elaborate a little bit more, like even when we choose to get married or enter a long-term relationship, right? Or even have children, we often ask ourselves like the same questions, right? What kind of lives do we want to build, right? Or what values, right? Do I want to live by? Or does it align with my partner's value, right?
Mm.
So even though we never label it as our why, right? Like every big and small decision that we have made has always guided us through these process, right? Like how do we want our life to be, right? But I understand, right? For me, like life gets busy, right? It gets busier every single day, right? And then we often lose touch of that, right? So I guess we can dive a little deeper, right, Rosanna? So what sparked your passion for wellness and energy work in the first place?
Mm. This was okay. I've always been passionate about wellness, the body. There's always been this sense of curiosity and energy and how we work. But I think what happened, my story is very similar to yours, Laura. Shortly after my daughter was born, um, my let me back up a little bit. Very, very independent. Okay. From a very young age, I was very independent. I had my first business at 14 years old. I left home when I was 16. I went to a special school for singing and acting. I graduated college at 20. I got a full-time job working with 407 ETR. When I was 21, I bought my first house at 22. And so very, very, very independent. And as a little girl, I used to be so so sensitive about the energy that people had around me. And I found myself crying a lot. And I hated it because my father used to say to me, "What are you crying for? I'll give you something to cry about. Come over here," right? And I'm like, "No, he doesn't understand. I don't even know why I'm crying." So there was a point from a very young age when I used to talk to like the universal energy, God, Jesus, whoever you want to call it, and say, take my feelings away from me so that I don't feel anything, so that I can just charge through life without having to feel and just be the best that I can be in that. Okay. Later on in life, I realized that it was helpful because I was able to get through life without feeling, but it was not helpful because I was living from this external part of me. So when someone finally said to me during this depression period, and it was probably postpartum, but back in the early 2000s, nobody really talked about depression. Um, I was unrecognizable to myself and to people around me. And I knew that my family wasn't going to say to me, "What's wrong with you? Go do something," because that's just not the type of family we are. We just all support each other. We don't tell each other or ask each other why. Then I needed to make a change. And I made a change by going to see a natural doctor who hooked me up to this a myopathy machine. And he started asking me questions about my religion, about how I feel about myself, about how I value myself. Do I feel like I'm enough? And all these questions. And realized that there was a lot of suppression, emotional suppression, and stagnancy in the body. So he started to work with me through tapping, positive affirmations, manifestation, energy changing, vibration, all of these things, which I didn't really know about. So the curiosity came around that time. And then from there, I thought, I really want to do something more. I want to learn more about the body. And the universe works in mysterious ways and synchronized for me to meet a woman who did Reiki healing. And this Reiki master started to work with me and started to clear out the repressed, stagnant energy in the body, the chaotic energy in the body, so that I could start to get to that point where I could feel again. And when she did that, I started to hear and feel and see spirit. And it was in that moment that I knew that I had some type of gift that I wanted to dive deeper into. And I started to learn more about the body. So moving forward a few years, couple years ago, year and a half ago, is when I actually met a naturopath doctor because I had lost my way with energy. So I thought, okay, let me try to do something different. And when I went in to see this natural doctor, he said to me I had 2 years to live. And I thought to myself, who in their right mind tells anybody that, for crying out loud? So I said, okay, I get it, doc. He showed me all the results, this and that, whatever. So that year, I started working with a natural doctor. A year after that, I met Joanne. Joanne started helping me with USANA products, getting me on the jump start. And it was absolutely miraculous, that 7-day jump start that I went on. In 7 days, in 2 days, the clarity in my body, the energy that I had was spectacular. And so really it's been the wellness part of it, not the energy part, but the wellness part of it for the last couple of years.
That's amazing. You know, like it's really inspiring because honestly, I still haven't felt what you felt, right? But however, from conversation with you, Rosanna, like I always learn so much, right? About motivation, about strength, right? About like you're just so inspiring, right? To I think all of us, right?
I
So
appreciate
I
that.
guess we can open up the group, right? To see if if anyone want to answer this question about like what sparked their passion, right? For wellness and right for wellness. I guess for wellness in the first place, because I feel like our wellness industry is growing bigger and bigger, right? Like it's
Absolutely.
everybody just want to be better, right? Everybody care about their wellness, right? At any stage of their life, right? So we can open the group, or maybe anybody want to unmute themselves, right? Does Joanne want to answer this? Maybe? Yes?
Sure, let me answer a little bit about the passions and stuff. Is that for me, I it's talking about 10 years ago, is just that um wellness to me, I don't know anything about it because I think like eating healthy, eating something that cooked from home is already is very good and it's very healthy. But when I realized that there's like when my family have some health issue, health concern, and that really hit me of looking into how to take care of yourself more in a scientist way or more in a researching that I'm going deeply understand that not just by eating healthy food but also the lifestyle that we are in because that way that also is hold on a second um that way is like I found that when my family when I learn more about it, it's not just helping myself and my family, but also helping the people around me. Around me that how I can bring this knowledge, bring this learning skill to the community that I'm working with, the people, the friend that I'm working with, and then slowly bring this way. I found that um, it gave me a very big change of in wellness part in lifestyle, and then going in more with the um, energy work like is that I found that when you are in wellness, it's not just the health part, but also it's like balance in your life and also having mind, body, and spiritual balance. And that is so uh, blow my mind out when I learned that. And then a few years ago, I also meet my coach that he really dramatically changed my life with it with the energy part and also the mindset part. And doesn't matter where we are, what we're doing, having a good mindset, have a positive way of doing each of in our each stage of in our life is so important. And keeping ourselves in a balance is like work we always say work and life balance, and this is it's easy to say but it's not easy to do it. That's why we have this group to help each other, to support each other, and to build this community to help have accountability. And I really found that having Laura and Rosanna together here is a very good supporting, and we are in the same page of doing something that we really passionate with to helping other, not just helping ourselves, but we also accountability with other to do more and to share more. And I think this is what I really love to continue with this, and that really keep my keep my energy going all the way. So thank you.
Thank you, lady. So it's really clear that both of your passions, right, have such a positive impact, right, on you and those around you, right? So I guess right now we can move towards something that we can all relate to, right? So what do you think holds people back right, from finding their whys or following their passions?
Mm. For me personally, I'm not saying that this is the number one, but from what I've recognized in my readings and the changes that I help create in women who come to see me, the number one block to finding their why is fear. It's fear of failure, fear of not feeling good enough, fear of being judged, societal fears and pressures. So fear is always fear and not feeling good enough. Those are for me, those are the biggest two that I feel and find in my experience, in my practice, that holds people back from finding their why. And sometimes they don't even know what the why is, right? They're not real about what it is that they want for themselves and for their life and family and relationships, et cetera, et cetera. So they feel that there's no why, there's no purpose. But when you ask them, well, what do you want? What excites you? They can't answer it. But they can tell you what they don't want, right? Yeah, I don't want this, I don't want that. I say, perfect, great start. You don't want that? Excellent. What's the opposite of what you don't want? Bingo, there we go. That's what you want. So once you work through, for me personally, even when working with my clients, once we work through the emotion that drives that fear, we break it down. Where does it come from? What happened to you that made you feel not good enough? What happened to you that made you feel like a failure? Once we break those emotions down and get to the root, we always, always, always find a why.
That is something that I can really relate to, right? The fear, right? The fear of being judged, right? Like for me, for this question, right? For me, it's I did think about for a while. I think for me personally, it is guilt, right? I feel like chasing my dreams meant that I will be taking myself right away from the family, right? But in this journey, right, I did learn that when we are the best version of ourselves, the people around us can benefit too, right? So in the beginning, you're right, right? It's to let go, right? To let go of that fear, to let go of the guilt, and really focus on the goals that didn't just help me, right? But the goals to really be help, like to guide me to become a better mom and also a more present person, right? So fear and guilt is such a powerful, like really powerful blockers, right, for holding people back. But once we acknowledge them, right, we can move past them, and then. So speaking of moving forward, right? So let's see, we can go to the next question, right? So what is that one thing that you do regularly to stay connected with your own why and keep yourself motivated?
Okay, this was a really interesting question because I thought it's going to be easy. I can answer this, no problem. No, you can't answer this question. So lately, okay, if we're talking about my business world, in that it's the restaurant, the store, et cetera, the tours, if we're talking about that, I stay connected to my why because, or how I stay connected to my why is I have weekly meetings with this consulting team that came in, and they make me stay connected to my why, right? I'm so ADHD and all over the place that I'm already 42 steps ahead of where the consulting team is, saying, listen, Rosanna, that's your vision, but this is where we're at. And I'm already 42 steps ahead to that vision. So they are constantly saying to me, let's bring it back to here. This is your why. I know where you want to be, but this is your why. Let's bring it back here. For me personally, in my spiritual realm, in my energy work, in my wellness work, unfortunately, being honest, I haven't given myself that time, that why, that energy, that because that I need. I'm finding it challenging right now to say, okay, Rosanna, what do you need personally? Because I am so focused right now on my why for my business and what I want to achieve from that. Does that mean that I'm wrong? Does that mean that that's bad? Absolutely not. What that means is our why changes. It does not always have to be the same why, the same purpose all the time. Where I am right now and the energy that I feel moving into 2025 and that vision, that why of what it is that I want to achieve, it fuels me. So I know that I'm on the right path for that. When I start to feel fatigued, overwhelmed, foggy brained, low energy, frustrated, angry, upset, guilty, when I start feeling emotions that take me out of alignment for my why for this year of where it is that I want to be and what it is that I want to do, I stop and I say to myself, okay, what is the root of that emotion? Where is the anger coming from? Where is the frustration coming from? Let's break it down. Then I realize, okay, I'm too chaotic. I've got too much going on. I'm not silent within myself. So that's when I start to do my 7 snippets, is what I call it. Okay. Everything that I do is in a 7-day snippet. And the biggest and number one most used snippet for me is hot water and lemon to get me balanced, to get me focused, to get me cleansing, to get me to defog my brain, to help release high levels of cortisol and hormone imbalance and all of these other things. So there's so many different things that we can do, right? But for me, as long as I'm feeling happy, energized, motivated, inspired, I'm growing, I'm learning, I'm transforming, then I know that I'm in alignment with that why. All right. But when that frustration, overwhelmment, foggy brain kicks in, that's when I have to sit with myself, play my music bowl, my crystal bowl in the key of F, sit in the heart energy and start to get rid of that chaoticness. And the number one thing that I always do is the 7-day water and lemon challenge and the 7-day jumpstart. That for me is always the one that I go back to.
So thank you so much for sharing that. I think the jumpstart, the 7-day jumpstart is a great way to reset. I personally have done it myself, but however, I will be adding the lemon and water challenge as well. So what you have shared, Rosanna, is really helpful, right? So it's all about breaking things into little habits, right? And really shifting your perspective and also be flexible, right? That can all make all the difference, right, in your
Yeah.
life,
Yeah, we
right?
can't be hard
So,
on ourselves.
yes. So for me, right, to answer this question, right, it's about journaling and really reflecting on my why, right? I mean, like you mentioned, right, our why changes, right, based on our lifestyle and based on things that comes up, right? So I, for me, right, I write down, right, the why, right, but not just the goals, right, but the deeper reasons behind them. So, for example, right, like for me, I really want to inspire other women, especially mothers, right, because I know, right, what it feels like to be stuck and lost that dream, right, to become dreamless, right?
Yeah.
So, just reminding myself of that purpose that really keeps me going, and even on the hard days. So, I guess before we open the group, right, and I do have one last question for you, Rosanna, right? So, what advice, like, will you give to someone who feels like they have lost their sense of purpose and doesn't know where to start?
Hmm. That's such a great question because, with everybody, it varies, right? I'd say not everybody can do this, but for me, it's sit in your emotions. If you've lost your sense of purpose, you have to ask yourself, where are you at right now? What emotion is fueling you every day? When you get to the root of that emotion and that feeling, and you recognize it and work with it, it's easier to sit and find your why. Having said that, I work with a lot of women who they have no idea what their purpose is. And that seems to be the focus of their world is what is my purpose? There's this great chart, and I believe it's called the life wheel, and it has 8 sections on it. I wish I had a picture, but I don't. But in those sections, it's career or business, finances, health and fitness, family, relationships, personal growth, fun and recreation, and physical environment. And in that wheel, in the divisions of the 8, from the center point to the edge of the wheel, you mark yourself how many points from 0 to 10, 10 being the most aligned, 1 or 0 being the least aligned in that area, are you? And that wheel doesn't look like a wheel after you're done because most of us, okay, I'll speak for myself. I'm not going to say most of us, I'm going to speak for myself, is out of balance, right? Like, for example, my career right now, my business, it's at its all-time high. But my wellness, my personal wellness, is quite a bit lower because I'm not focused on me. I'm focused on my business. So my relationships change, my family changes. So it's not a perfect circle. It's a right? So you see the imbalance of it. So if you don't know where you're at or what your sense of purpose is, and you don't know where to start, a couple of great things is A, what emotion is fueling you or driving you on a daily? And B, maybe try this life wheel to see where the imbalance is or where the least operating place is in your life and start there.
Yeah, I really love that, right? So I would definitely have to look into the life wheel, right? After this, right? Because it is something
Absolutely.
that's really interesting. So I guess like for me, right, with this question, the advice that I would give, right, it is for someone to just start small, right?
Yeah.
For me, you're absolutely right, right? So it is you always have to ask yourself, right? So it's always about me asking myself, right? So what would make me feel fulfilled today? So sometimes it's as simple as reading a book, right? Or learning a new skill. So I guess my tomorrow I will start learning about the life wheel, right? And over
There you
time,
go. Yeah.
the small actions, right? So small action really helped me rediscover who I was and what I wanted to be, right? So Rosanna, so thank you for being so honest, right? So open and sharing about your insights. So I do want to hear from the group, right? We do have a lot of people here with us tonight, right? So what's one small thing that you have done or could do this week to feel more connected to your goals or your passions? So you can feel free to put it in the chat, right? Does anybody want to unmute themselves or just really simply just sharing the small things that they want to do? Anyone? Let me see. So does May want to answer it? May? Because you know you're so inspiring. I have learned so much from you like a few months ago with our reset program.
And thank you. Yeah, I'll share a little bit. Rosanna, I love, first I want to say, Rosanna, like, thank you for your time. Like, your response were inspiring and really got me thinking about myself too. Um, I can't truly think of like an action to do this week, but I do want to say that my passion within the wellness field has always been personal development. Growing up, I always have fixed mindset due to the environment I grew up in. But once I got introduced to USANA, and I'm very grateful I got introduced to the right team at a young age, they introduced me to this world of personal development where I then learned about Les Brown, Tony Robbins, Mel
Mm.
Robbins, even Jim Rohn. And an action that I can happily say that I've been doing every week is listening to a podcast. And I had to, I learned this a while back where it's best not to listen to and just anything and everything because a lot of information are out there and it can overwhelm a person. So I stick to, top three. My number one is currently Mel Robbins,
Mm.
and yes, she has a lot of topics to go through, but something that I have done was sitting down and think, what is something I want to focus on? What is something that I need to work on? And to be very open, it's childhood trauma. Now,
Mm.
I thought that I did a lot of activities, especially with life coaches that I've healed, but I've noticed in the past year, like some activities would come up, some triggering moments would come up. And so that's my awareness is okay, this is an area I want to work on. And it's funny that we have this conversation today because literally an hour ago, I was listening to Mel Robbins' podcast that she talked about trauma. And I'd say that checked off my list of what to do this week, which is to learn learn what I don't know, and so that I can come up with activities, actions, or homework that I can do to improve myself in that area. So I guess that yeah, that answered that question where okay, something small thing that I could do is to listen to a podcast on an area I want to work on, and then come up with something to then help better myself in that area.
I love that. Have you
So
have you have you heard of Mel's new book, The Let Them Theory?
Have, yes, yes. I am about to get that on Audible soon.
Nice.
I loved her 5 Second Rule, which is how I got into her books, as well as I forgot the title of the second book, but that one was also great too.
Love her. Yeah, she's great. Tony Robbins, he's my number one. Mel's definitely up there too.
So it's so great that right in a such a small community, right, we do find something that really connect us, right, with each other, right, because with our different backgrounds and with our different upbringing, right, there's always something to share. There's always something that we can bring to the table and also inspire other women, right, to just really figure out right what is better for us, right, what's better for us out there, right, not just because I know most of us, including myself, right, at one point like I really do feel stuck, right, I was stuck.
Mm.
I wasn't sure what I wanted, but the only thing that I know is that I wasn't happy, right, I was not motivated, right, I had such low energy, and I just no matter what I do, I just can't find the joy, right, the joy that really gets me up in the morning. So I truly believe, right, tonight that we do have like an incredible conversation, right? With Rosanna, with May, with Joanne that participated, right? And with everybody who is tuning in right now, right? So I do thank everyone, right, for joining us and sharing your thoughts, right? So finding the why and understanding what truly matters to you is such a powerful step towards building the life that you want. So remember, right, your dreams, right, in the beginning, like I always have really big dreams, right? But now, right, that I have learned from all of you, right, that dreams don't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to be massive, right? They just have to be yours and really does fit into your own lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
So I guess as we reflect on tonight's conversation, right? So for all of us, right, just including myself, right? So take one small action this week that really aligns with your why. So even the tiniest step forward can make the difference. So I guess before we wrap up for tonight, I do want to leave you with a little wellness tip. That has been so helpful for me, especially during this time of the year, right? So let me go to the next slide. So as we head into the colder months and recover from the holiday season, right, it's important to give our bodies the mind, our bodies and minds the support that they need. So one essential nutrient that has been a like a big difference, right, in my life is vitamin D. So, I'm pretty sure most of you know, right? Vitamin D is sometimes called the sunshine vitamin, and I do have it here with me tonight, right? So, so the vitamin D, right? It gives the body, right? The vitamin D, right? Let me see if I can remember it correctly. We don't have Dr. Linda here with us tonight, but so, so our body, right, produce it, right, naturally when exposed to the sunlight. But however, it is something that we often get less of in the winter, right? Vitamin D is vital for our immune health, energy level, and even our moods. So especially right now, we are going into the post-holiday blues, right? Like, and I love the USANA vitamin D because, right, of its potency guarantee, the effectiveness, and also is part of my daily routine to stay energized and also balanced, right? So I would really like to thank all of you for joining us.
Sorry, can I interrupt for one
Yeah,
second?
yeah, yeah,
In
yeah.
regards, in regards to the vitamin D, does it have to be direct or can it just be from the window
Uh,
or the
um,
rays?
I'm sorry, do you mind repeating that question?
So for the vitamin D, like you say, it's sunlight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, does it have to be direct sunlight? Like, do you have to be outside in order to get the benefits, or can it be through the window?
I have read, right? But I mean, I'm pretty sure there's professionals here, right? But I have read in order to really get the vitamin D from the sunlight, we cannot put on any sunscreen and really go out there in open sun for 1 hour to really get that dosage of vitamin D that we need daily. So correct me if I'm wrong, but however, I'm going to find the source for that, and I will share the link of that source online next week, next Monday. But that's something that I have learned. But I know that for me, I normally don't get enough of it. And what I noticed for myself, because when I was younger, I was literally getting sick every single month, right? I would be sick for 2 weeks, and then I would be better for a week, and then I would be sick again for 2 weeks. So something that I have also learned from my previous career, my previous job, was that to really increase the vitamin D level. And once I did notice that I stopped getting sick, especially the cold. Like when I have a cold, I have it forever, and they are so painful. They're brutal and they are painful. So that's why that's something that I always take. And it's so small. This vitamin D that we have is so small, and I just put it in my mouth and I swallow it. I don't even use the water to swallow it. So, however, I will look into that source about about getting that vitamin D, right, from either like by the window or if we do have to get it outside, in outside in the open space in direct sunlight. So
Thank you. Thank you.
So I'm so excited I'm so excited that we have this, right? We started this every Monday, right? That we are going to continue with this every Monday, right? And then I do wish that we can continue this journey, right, with all of you. So next week, we will be diving into our next topic, which is setting our goals, all right, and shaping our future. So it's all going to be about practical steps for turning your dreams into actions and really creating the vision for the life you want. So I just hope that nobody miss it, right? So same time, same place, right? Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So really wish that we can keep the momentum going. So the idea of this, right, for this community, for it is to really bring our own experience, right? Just come with an open mind, right? Come as you are. Like for today, for me, I just come as who I am, right? No makeup, right? I was actually in my pajama, but I did thought about maybe that's not really professional. So I changed the top, but I kept the pajama pants. So
I don't think anybody would have known.
yeah. So thank you
It's
so
so
much,
funny.
Rosanna. Thank you so much for co-hosting with me tonight, right? You're such an inspiration for me. You're like my yeah, you're like my big sister, something a sister that I always would wish that I have, right?
You're very sweet. Thank you. I feel the same about you too.
So thank you everyone. So have a good night and we will see you next Monday, right? So if you do have any questions, right, feel free to reach out to the person who invited you here tonight and I'm pretty sure they will give you more information, okay?
Good night. Thank you.
Good
Thank you,
night.
everyone.
Okay, bye. Good night.